Welcome back, guys. So before I go into the game, I'll queue up, but I'm not gonna accept this. So we'll just see what happens. I want to go over the patch notes. So this patch, really major update for mages, dragon, rift herald. Yeah. It's a long thing. So let's stop and go straight into it. So holy shit, there's so many. All right, let's go for Vlad. So. I like the fact that Vlad's E is more like this in a way, because I feel like honestly his old E was kind of boring. You just kind of kept stacking it because I didn't like I thought the old Vlad had a lot of poor balance issues. He was infinitely sustainable, and if his damage went to sustain. So if you did enough damage, you sustain. So either you're strong enough to eventually kill everyone and never lose lane, or you're so weak that you couldn't get to the point where you can do the former and was never picked in competitive play. So I thought it was really hard to balance, and probably the removal would have made it easier to balance the champion. So they made it so he gains more AP per, what the heck, more health per AP. No, more AP per health. Rise is a better item on him. All right. 1 health per 1 AP. And vice versa. I don't know why they rebuffed his passive. It's really dangerous to have double dipping passives, but I guess we'll see. So now it goes 9 to 5. Damage is really low. Ratio's low. Healing's unchanged. Healing ratio got decreased. So generally they're making him less sustain oriented, which is ideal, but he gains Crimson Rush. Makes his next transfuse deal double damage and heals for... Overall, this makes him a lot weaker, because in team fights he used to, like, stacking CDR was, like, really strong on him. Every transfuse and max damage. 230 base is really good for a 4-second cooldown. So you just stack the shit out of CDR top lane, or I guess mid lane you stack CDR a lot, and then you just go off with transfuse. But maybe due to this... I always like Spellpen Vlad, but maybe this makes Spellpen a little bit more valuable, but more than likely it just means everyone still does the same thing, and it just sits on, if they use the third stack, they'll immediately ramp up to the Crimson Rush again. But the Crimson Rush duration is only 2.5 seconds. That's really short. Damage ratio got reduced. I don't really think this matters. This is irrelevant. Charged up reservoir pays a portion of his max spell for 1 second to increase the damage. On release, is this a charge up? This is a charge up. Cooldowns down to 5. 600 range is decent. It's not bad. Damage is only 140. What's the ratio? It scales off maximum health, and the AP goes up to 0.7. It's kind of weird. I said I liked it more than the other thing. I don't know if that's true anymore. The slow is really nice. Don't get me wrong. This is really good. The fully charged one slows for 40%, but Vlad is also slowed while he's full charge, which makes it really annoying, actually. Probably Rise is still going to be core on this champion, just because it still seems like it has great synergy with his kit, but maybe becomes less relevant because you can already get slows in this kit. Heal plate duration decreased. 10% damage from all sources upon detonation. Heals Vladimir for each enemy hit per target. So it's not based on damage, it's based on per target. I guess that's really interesting. It rewards you for hitting more players, and it does less amp damage. I guess it's cool because it synergizes really well with how your rotation wants to go. You ulti someone, you flash E, Q, and then you W, and then you probably be at like 50%. You heal all the way back up afterwards. And then you do another Q rotation into Zanya's, into another Q, E rotation into pool. So I guess it's okay. Honestly, I know a lot of these mages already, so let me go through the major stuff. I think Vlad, I don't know. I was more hyped for his stuff before, but what ended up happening was I don't know if I really enjoy Vlad's new E. I thought it was a lot cooler than that. I like what they did with the ulti, but the Vlad new E kind of is weird. I have to see it in game, I guess. I like what they did with the new Malzahar. I thought that it was really boring having the... Oh, maybe not boring, but shifting over W tier is really nice. I think the damage reduction is actually absurd. 90% reduction for 1 second. 90%. Holy shit. That's so much. It looks like he's an obnoxious jungler. I don't know how much stronger he'll be in terms of actually being able to... He's unCCable, right? That means he's impossible to pick while he's out of combat, which is really, really nice for him. You know, the biggest thing is I want to play champions that are fun to play, that when I do good, cool things, is rewarded for, like, I'm rewarded for doing the thematically the best way to play a champion. So that's why I really like what they did with Vlad ulti. I thought that's, like, I'm getting a big payoff. I hit more targets to the ulti, bam, I get more health, you know? I think this is strange. It'll make him stronger for sure. And they attach the 10%. Like, it's gonna make it better for sure. How about we do it with... How about we do it like the ice cream store? Like it, love it. What's the last one? Gotta have more of it. I think I like the mouse rework. Overall, I think the Malzahar being able to... one of the biggest things is... This is a 6-second cooldown now. That's actually insane. It doesn't really matter that the base damage got cut low, but like he has really, really consistent like late game damage. Like it's actually insane. I don't know. I think Malzahar, the problem I had with Malzahar was that his scaling, because he was immobile, when you got to late game with Malzahar, you would just get picked off. Like, you wouldn't be able to do enough damage because the way that they initiate isn't optimal for you. Because Malzahar does best when their initiation is very non-gap closer, run at you, big tank kind of initiation. Examples are stuff like Rammus, or like a better example is Mundo. Mundo was like the perfect champion you play Malzahar into because he's a big body that has to run into you. He doesn't really initiate well, and he's really great. However, most of the good initiators are better than that. They can like TP flank behind you with Maokai and then just root you, and you're done for. So I think generally I like the way they're pushing this, because what happens is W is still like anti-melee aggro, I would say, because it stacks up best if they're close range. The Voidlings get less time to run to them, but for the most part it's a lot more flexible, because the old one you have to sit in the stable area, whereas the W's they just keep following stuff. I definitely think I like the rework a lot. They reworked a lot of mana costs. I'm not really sure what to do here. 2% of maximum mana is way better than 26. Well, actually, it may not be better, but it scales better for sure. But I don't really think you need scaling on this mana return. But they make this guy like a supreme tank buster. His ulti does maximum health per second, and the ratio is targets maximum health per 100 AP. So, and they removed a lot of cast times. It is really cool. The remove the delay cast time. I think that Malzahar right now, at least, I think he'd be more enjoyable to play. And I don't know if he'll be broken, but at least he has a really defined niche, which is your tank buster. You kill stuff, low range tank buster. You poke with Q, and when they dive you, it's not like you're you can't die. It's that the initial CC doesn't automatically one-shot you. So his lack of mobility was essentially covered by his new passive. I like it. It's good. Alright. I think Cassie's new passive is interesting. It essentially means that she has one more item than everyone else in the game. Which means that late game, 6 item builds, she should be really, really powerful. Because she's just able to build another item. Her QAP ratio is 0.7? Wow. And her move speed goes up to 50%. She gets a mana increase. Cast range got decreased. What? I guess it makes sense for all the buffs that she got. Buff here, buff here, buff here. Decays over the duration. That's probably okay. The miasma is really cool. It's one of the more unique mechanics in the game. Essentially, you can't go through it. If you're Flash, you can't VQ through it. You can't do anything. You're just grounded. So I think it's cool. I think it's really weird. It has no minimum. It has a minimum range that you can fire. It's set. So you can almost always, like, it's not good against people who dive you, but it's good at being able to control areas and essentially keep in people who are running away. Cobra said he didn't like playing this champion on a PvE because she felt really clunky. I don't know if necessarily that's true. I think that cooldown is 0.9. Wow. Ratio is 0.1? Oh, you get your AP power back if you hit them while they're poisoned. But if you don't, you can still spam the shit out of Q. Alright. She's not too focused on getting poisoned, and you get a heal back. But you don't refund mana anymore. I think that's going to be a big problem, actually. You look at how expensive her mana costs are now. Increase of 20 on her Q, increase of to 60. Like, she's not gonna have the early game power anymore unless, I mean, I guess she just scales better off one item and you just farm out the first couple. Guess that's okay. I really sometimes had mana problems with her in lane in the first place, but I guess now it's just definitely more farm oriented. So she's got weaker early game, probably more powerful late game. I'm surprised they nerfed the slow 60% while moving away to 40%. Alright, I guess it's because she already has her W. They want to overload the amount of slow that she has. An 80% slow on W is pretty insane. It's still, but the thing is, refunding 100% of the cost doesn't mean anything. Like, I wanted the extra mana back. That made it really, really easy for her to build, like, certain items. Like, now, she might just be forced into a tier build. I mean, whatever. You're gonna probably get a mana item on her anyways. But now she scales off CDR, where she didn't before. Kind of interesting. You guys didn't listen to me when I said that she's gonna have mana problems, because she probably will. Getting the mana return early was really nice. I do like that Zyra gets more plants in general. I think that's really nice because a lot of times it felt like you were at the mercy of your W cooldown and you weren't able to essentially do what your champion was good at unless your W was up. Which I guess is okay, but maybe, like, the way I saw Zyra before is she's very similar to Malzahar. Anti-dive champion, really, really big at controlling a large area when they dive in. So you dive into Zyra, you're dead. Straight up, you just die instantly. She also follows up AoE initiation decently well, but her best thing is, like, short to low range anti-dive, which doesn't exist much anymore in League, because what ends up happening is, rather than short to low range anti-dive, usually it's like everyone has really, really strong poke, and just overpowers Zyra's ideal range. So examples such as Corki, such as Azir, like our champions are way outside of Zyra's respective range that she wants to fight. Whereas other like she was really good in the areas of like Aurelia and Jax before she got nerfed. But now with like really strong tanks, it doesn't super matter. Like she still feels really weak because she can't contest champions at long ranges. Because her kit's built to essentially beat anti-divers. This is why, to some degree, I feel like Malzahar got taken out because no one really because he can't control the long range either. His mobility late game and hers as well means that they just explode to initiation. Cass is weird for me. It's because I'm biased because I heard Cobra say he didn't like her. I don't know. I'm with the unsure here because her late game takes a little bit of a hit. Early mid game because she has increased mana cost but refunds less mana essentially. Her late game was already good. That's the thing though. Not being able to itemize CDR and not having to itemize CDR and not having to and already getting like 50% AP or 30% AP off your passive means that regardless of what happens, she might not even be better than she was late game before. Her scaling is better, definitely. Her Q scale is at 0.7, so probably she's going to be better in terms of overall damage, but it's not going to be as much as you think with 6 items. And then after... I like the W change though, for sure. I think it's better. I think it's better. I'm a little bit unsure how he's gonna play or she's gonna play early game, but I guess we'll see. Alright, what's her passive? My health is 4. So they die in 2 autos? Okay. That's the same type deal, 50% less damage. Get the same type. Yeah, it's the same thing as before. Plant damage. Is it less? It's less. Not by that much though. Oh, they nerfed AP as well. How much is periodically? This seems really annoying. When Riot releases information like this is like the stuff that I really care about, right? How good is her new passive? I can't even like think about it because it just says it spawns periodically. Like I think at the very least they should say something like it spawns between 20 seconds at level 1 and at level 16 goes down to like 10. That gives me a lot clearer of a picture than just reading this and being like I have no idea what this means. So especially because she's sacrificing essentially 2 plant health, 33% of the old plant autos because of it. Is it every 8 seconds? Like I don't know. Allowing tentacles are really bad, to be honest. But like I feel like especially in this area I should be able to know. 11 to 7 seconds? That's not bad. Why is it not in the patch notes though? That annoys me. Okay, so let me keep going. Deadly Spines. The way they changed this was really weird. If you saw the way that the spines hit now, here, let me pause. It hits like this. It's like a linear, it's like Malzahar Q. Or Anivia wall in terms of indicator. So generally it covers a wider range. Lower mana cost. Huh, that's good for support. Decent for mid too. Overall damage decreased by 30 and overall AP ratio decreased. Now it grows in a rectangle instead of a circle. Seed lifetime increased to 60 seconds. Okay. No longer grants CDR. Increased maximum plant health by... That's kind of lame. I'm not gonna lie. I think this is really annoying. Like, so her W doesn't do anything now. Like, what's the point of her? Like her W means you're able to plant stuff in the ways that in the areas that you want to plant, right? But it doesn't give CDR anymore, and the only other thing, the new thing is essentially making it so that it goes back to its old health. That's so boring. Like, at least give her like, I don't know, something else onto her ability. Essentially, it's like if I cut this ability off, would you notice? Maybe, yeah, you definitely would, to be in terms of like being able to harass, but yeah, it's like she has 2 passives. which I'm not a huge. This is so boring. Like, I hate abilities like this because I read this and I'm bored. Alright, whatever. No longer gives 50% attack speed to plants. 50% bonus damage. Whew. That's actually a lot better than 50% attack speed. E stays the same. I just like this rework. I think they could have done a lot more for it. I will say though, the best thing about this rework is all of this stuff I don't care about. Like, all of this stuff is whatever. The best part of her rework is this. They rebuffed her movement speed so that it's easier for her to dodge ganks and to move around the map and not get picked. This is by far the biggest buff to her the entire patch notes. And that's depressing to me. I think that I'm not a real big fan of the new Zyra change. Like, I'm telling you, I've used to play Zyra a lot. This is the best buff in the entire page. That's huge. 15 movement speed is insane. It's a lot. And that because of that, I don't like it. Oh, shit. Let's keep going. Or 25 movement speed. Sorry, that's a huge amount. Or 15. No, is it 15? It's 325 to 3. It's 15. Why did I get baited by chat? Alright, so this is the champ I'm most interested in. So, what are the problems with a lot of these champions? They skill poorly going into late game because they usually spike around 1 to 2 items and fall off. They're mobile, they're easily picked off, and their damage doesn't translate well, and they have lack of range to be able to effectively translate their damage. Okay? So, what does that mean for Brand? So, when they first announced Brand, they said they changed Brand's passive essentially to be, if you hit your abilities multiple times in a row, he will do an immense amount of AoE damage, and that's great. I think the way I see Brand is like he's there to make your day hell. Like if you are caught in the bad spot, Brand is there to pentakill your team, and I think that's ideal for him. Like rather than give him like CC reduction or any of this kind of stuff that Malzahar went, like he's still just as immobile as he is before. However, right now, his passive does insane damage. Like when I read the numbers, I think it's 12 to like 20% max percentage health. The trade-off is that the blaze damage is a lot less, but 12 to 16%, and it scales with AP, which I think is pretty crazy. Can't stack blaze on those who's exploded in the past 4 seconds. I mean, it doesn't matter. I think in a team fight, if you proc 2 of these, game's over. Like straight up, like you proc 2, and that's an insane amount of health to lose as a frontline. But there must have been a trade-off. So like they must have lowered the damage for the other abilities. So yeah, they lowered it by 40. Ratio got down. Stun. This is a really big stun duration going down. Like this is one of his best defensive and offensive tools as Brand. Lowering the stun duration kind of annoys me because yeah, it's just annoying. I'm okay to take like a mana cost buff for stun duration. It just because the passive is really strong now. But we'll see what they do with mana cost here. They lower the mana cost here, which is really good. I think the mana cost that this guy has, it's really hard for him to match better longer range mages unless he has good mana. And the CDR goes from 10 to 8. Okay. That's pretty good. 20% more. Damage didn't get touched. Conflag got decreased. Oh, 60 base. He lost 100 base on his 2 abilities and 0.3 ratio. Ooh. Whoa, the CDR went from 10 to 6? This guy needed mana cost buffs. A lot, actually. All of this stuff, like, because he's getting better CDR here and here, mana cost got reduced by 10. I guess he wouldn't max this to the end anyways, but I mean, I guess I'm just gonna go Grail on this champ, honestly. I don't think his E is useless. I think a lot of people underrate his E. Like the thing is, it's like, yeah, it was used to set up his stun, but now it's really useful because you need to proc your passive. Like his passive is his kit. If you proc the passive, you win. You win the fight. If you proc multiple passives, like it's game over. So that's what your E helps you do, is it keeps them essentially ignited for you. damage got nerfed by that much. Whoa, AP ratio got cut by that much? Oh, it slows now. Holy shit. 30, 45, 60% slow. I still probably would go Rally Sling entries on this champ. I think if anything, this champ is just CDR mana is really helpful. The same build is probably gonna be is gonna be it. His actual AP scaling sucks now. 0.25, 0.35, 0.55. I guess his W is still like 0.6, I think. It's okay. Like generally I think this guy's AP ratio sucks. It's essentially you have to blow this to be able to do it, which I think is okay. It means that overall that his identity changes to you proc Blaze, you win, which he has a lot of tools to be able to do that. And the fact that they added a slow onto his ulti means that he may not be so reliant on Rallies anymore, even though Rallies is disgustingly good on this champion, don't get me wrong. I thought I'd love it more. Honestly, he got hit with a lot of nerfs in terms of ratios. I like it. I don't love it. I have to see in the game. I have to see how important, because this is just numbers to me. Like, to me, that's an insane amount of numbers. But you did give away 8% per. Now that it's just burst damage, which is better late game to have burst rather than over time. But especially ones that can afflict other people. So I think that he'll be much stronger in team fights. But maybe one-on-one and maybe in laning, he just got worse. And a lot of champions, if they're not good at laning, you can't even play them because they just get bullied out. Whether or not he'll be able to successfully translate into the late game, because that was his biggest problem before, is yet to be determined. Until I play it, I can't tell. But I'm interested. This is probably one of the first champions I'll be playing once it comes out. Vel'Koz. This is one of my favorite champions right now. Vel'Koz is the only meta champ I currently like to play. Right now, this is a 2-3 item wonder. So you get pen items. He has really terrible AP scaling. His ulti has like 700 base damage, but like 0.2 rate scale. Like it's awful. So he works really well with CDR and penetration. And because there's a limit on how good those items are going into late game, at 3 or 4 items, this guy just falls off a cliff. So in terms of his relative damage, it's not that good. Which is fine, you know. I think that's really good because he has very defined strengths and weaknesses. His mid game, incredibly powerful. He can tear up team fights. He's a high damage control oriented mage that's immobile and falls off. But the range that he covers is pretty powerful, pretty strong. Anyways, I'm gonna keep watching this. So his problem is that going to late game, he doesn't scale very well. So what do they do to address that? Okay, scales with AP. Ooh, disgusting. 0.4 is a lot. 0.4 is like more than his old Q. Refunds 50% of its mana cost for each unit killed by plasma fission. Oh, that's so weird. That's cool. That's actually cool. I like it. That means using it to snipe CS isn't that bad. I used to do it anyways because I just couldn't last hit some, but she didn't necessarily have mana problems. That's the only one thing, but I guess it's good. But man, scale. This is like amazing. Like once I read this, I'm like, all right, we're good. We're in there. First hit ratio, they nerfed the W ratio, but honestly, if you're playing this champion, you're not going to be able to hit them with 2 parts of W. For the most part, it's a wave clear ability for yourself in lane, and it's also really good at being able to, like, you only hit it if they're diving you, which you're good at those types of champions anyways, the linear divers. So I don't really care about losing damage on this to get damage on this, because this overall helps me a lot more. And I don't really care about my E ratio, my A ratio on E as well. Like this is less relevant than anything else in the kit. I'll take this hit for anything else. Become researched. true damage. True damage to research targets. Oh, they increased the AP value and lowered the cooldown of her ulti. Alright, this champ is gonna be god. I actually think Vel'Koz. The thing is, Vel'Koz right now is situationally good right now. He's a really strong zero counter at the moment. Competitively, I think of all the champions that are reworking here, Vel'Koz is the only one that's currently being played competitively. Vel'Koz and Cassio. Being able to do true damage is unbelievable. Like, it's good against everything. Like, squishy targets, she already does pretty well against, and against tanks, it's obviously just tears him a new one. So the overall ratio that he increases is like quite strong. Does he do way less damage with the combo? That's true. Probably means you can't solo kill him before. But in terms of, you're already gonna get a lot of CDR on this champ anyways. It means that relatively Pen might not be as valuable. So I think, no, actually Pen might be even just as valuable. And you just work around it and you get itemized toward more AP later. Instead of going Ludens, I think it might be better. Actually, just the normal item build already gives you end late game with 300 AP. That's still a decent chunk to work with your organic deconstruction. I don't think your build has to change at all. You're just better against tanks, where generally your overall it's gonna do a little bit less damage. Yeah, his ult does disgusting damage now. Alright, I love it. Let's go with that. That's all the major changes. Minor stuff. So they said Anivia. Alright, they increased their base. I don't even think they needed to do this. I actually didn't mind Anivia's auto, but I mean, it's better. This is a minor change? They changed 3 abilities. Oh, ult no longer applies passive? That's actually a really big nerf. Well, actually, I think generally you're only able to get 1 rotation of your ulti in the first place. But I thought it didn't apply passive onto as soon as they became researched, but it doesn't stack it at all. That actually sucks. You used to be able to get a guaranteed true damage proc on it. I still think overall this might be better for Vel'Koz, but maybe not. Maybe I just drop it. Maybe I don't love any of these champs. We'll see. Minor Mage rework. How is this minor? Oh, the stun duration increased? Oh, they don't want to do that. No. They don't want to give Anivia more. So it's a 0.8 ratio instead of 0.5. The damage, damage decreased to 320 instead of 360. But the stun is more important than base damage, in my opinion. CC is invaluable. 1.5 seconds. Ooh. I don't know. That's really interesting. The fact that the slow increases, I don't think this is that valuable late game because you're almost always gonna be playing around your ulti anyways. Missile speed increase, that's good, sure. Means you do your damage better. It might mean your QE combo actually misses at max range, which it might actually be a nerf to doing that. But cast range, there's a range buff of 35. Sure, okay, whatever. That's. I'll just read this. Cast range 6. Oh, it got buffed a little bit. Okay, that's all she really needed. Radius is 150. Wait, that's terrible. I thought it would be like, oh, it starts at like 300 now and goes to like 600, 700. No, it's like they just butchered it. It's awful. I hate it, actually. Like, I don't care about any of this stuff. Is irrelevant. What is this? Why the maximum size is even larger than her old maximum size, which I thought was the big nerf. I know it expands, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't expand past the initial size it was before. I mean, the slows increase, sure. I almost want to say I dislike it. Like, I don't care if over 3 seconds, you're literally telling, like, the way that you do damage rotations with Anivia is you ulti them and then you, like, from max, you E into an ulti. But I'm not even sure if you can guarantee that anymore. The radius is so small. It's not 90% slow. It's 50% on top of this, so it's like a 60% slow. Sure. I don't like it, I'll be honest. Damage increase, sure. I still don't really like it. I'll put it under unsure, but I'm sure it'll be okay. It's just kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie. I'm surprised they left it at this though. It is such a small amount to start with. I'm gonna say it could be better than I think. We'll keep going. Annie. Now displayed under Annie's health. Sure, that's good. Range on W got increased. Okay. Duration. Whoa, the damage return is insane. Oh, it gives 40% damage reduction. Last half as long. Well, that's interesting. I think that's actually... It means late game she's tankier. It's really weird. It might just mean that she becomes a tank lane top. Like a tanky, there's like a tanky option that's available to her because 40% damage reduction is like ridiculous. But alright, what will they change? Timber's ratio got decreased, damage got decreased, aura damage got decreased, aura ratio got decreased, attack got decreased. Attack range got increased. What did they nerfed 4 or 5 different things on her? This is so stupid. This doesn't even matter. The ability for it to regenerate doesn't matter. When you're playing Annie, all you care about is their Tibbers just like one shots the other guy. Tibbers enrages on summon. So the way they want to do this is they want to put more of her damage off instantaneous burst and more onto Tibbers autos. Wait, what is this? If Annie dies with Tibbers in the range and Tibbers doesn't die anymore, it regenerates 50% of missing HP in rages and targets Annie's killer. This was their change? This is really good. Okay, buffing like her actual damage range is nice. I think generally it's just average. It's average. Like, this buff doesn't really do too much. They just added more stuff to make her more gimmicky. Or like, I guess, like, I just keep reading this and I'm like, what's the point of all of this? Seriously, there's no point. This is just gimmicky. They added on, like, it's cool. Like, I don't mind it being in the game. And then they made it so that she's more tied to her bear autos, but none of the rest of her kit makes her bear autos enraged, except for when she goes into Pyromania again. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care about her bear enraging. Like, I guess I'll see how much damage it does in game, but generally this just gives me a what? I don't really care. Alright, Fiddlesticks. So Fiddlesticks sucks right now. Straight up, this champ is really bad. It's got nerfed multiple times, mainly because he's a really egregious offender of having way too many good CCs on his kit. AoE silence that can restack, and single target longest sphere CC in the game. So they nerfed both the CCs tremendously. His damage and essentially affected so he couldn't clear super fast, and he's really difficult. He's easy to counter jungle. It's hard to play without Zhonya's. Like, it is made so that this champion just starts sucking, to be honest. Gains Dread. Moving causing him to gain bonus move speed. Oh, okay. So it's just as you ulti, you're going with more move speed. You give up MR reduction on this, but I guess it helps him be able to run around. It's essentially built-in Mobies. That's fine. Maybe the trade-off for Mobies over like 10 MR reduction is just better. They nerfed his Q rate. Like, what is that? Why do they keep nerfing his shit? Q that begins at the end of the drain. Overall buff, right? Unless you can get full drains off, which is unlikely on this champ. Typically only drain for a couple seconds. Number of bounces 7. Not prior. Oh, whew. This is interesting. This I like. I like that they're able to now control more of the Dark Wind, but 7 bounces and that. This is gonna do a lot of damage. Alright, let's keep going. Yeah, this is definitely worse than the jungle, but in terms of being able to gank stuff, you're not going to get more than like 3 seconds of your drain off, in my opinion. So it's probably better for that. Crow Storm. Will cast the maximum range if out of range. Now uses the on my... this is the biggest buff here. That's depressing, but that buff is actually really nice. I don't know. I don't think this will allow Fiddle to see more play. I'll be straight honest. I think that they nerfed this Q range. Like, why was this even in the patch though? So why does this even have to happen? Why can't they just like do the rest of this stuff and see? It's because they're scared of the movement speed they're giving him on his passive, that he can gap close a lot faster. So they instinctively took it off his Terrifier. That's probably the logic behind it. I think that's such a preemptive knee-jerk a preemptive reaction to this buff. Like, the champion right now already sees next to no play. He's not very good, and before you're even willing to see if he will be good at this Terrify range, you already nerf it. So you don't know. Like, you're already... I don't like how they balance this champ at all. But it's clear it might be a lot better with Dark Wind. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Overall, I'm just unsure. I almost want to say I dislike this change just because they nerfed this randomly. But I think overall, these are all buffs. I think I might even... It's like unsure to like it. Let's keep going. Kennen scales super well into late game, but the amount of targets you can hit with ulti always felt really lackluster. I thought they just increased the maximum targets to what it is at level 16, but lower like either damage hit on consistent targets down. It would mean that he'd be able to be used a lot more early levels. That's really all I really want them to do with Kennen, because I feel like he takes too long to get to the point where he's God, unless he snowballs, which any champ looks good when he's snowballing. So first stun duration, nothing changed. Additional stuns are a point, so it got minorly nerfed. This is real irrelevant. Energy cost decreased. Okay, that's good. That's not bad. That's not bad. Energy cost decreased. That's not bad. Range got decreased. Ugh. I don't. That was like one of the best parts about him was you were able to get 2 Ws at rank 4 with CDR boots. You're able to get 2 Ws on 1 mark target. So that was how he was able to do damage in terms of long range. If you're able to apply the Q or somehow get the passive mark on him, you'd be able to get 2 Ws. The reduction in range is okay if the compensation is good enough. It's no longer limited to striking the same target 3 times per cast, but only the first 3 strikes on a target will apply Mark of the Storm. Oh! Did they do what I said they do? It's only 3 seconds long now. Okay, the tick rate is... They increased the tick rate? Oh, it strikes every target in the area, including minions and monsters. So if... It's no longer... Oh, holy shit. Level 6, this might be really interesting. Ooh. They did it. They did it. The only thing I had a problem with was you couldn't hit a lot of good targets before. So at level 6, I felt that you needed like at least level 11 to get like really big team fights, and this now hits everything. The damage fall off per bolt. How many bolts are you? You're guaranteed 6 bolts in ulti. The duration decreases. The duration decreases as well, but that's not necessarily too bad. I think the tick rate going down is kind of bad though, but I guess you get rewarded if you're able to get a good flank ulti. Damage is actually nuts. 1.5 AP at 300 base to 800 base. He's already like he already scales really well. So overall, I think this is great. This is super good, and this may be the trade-off for this, and the energy reduction comes at a betterment for getting like a really consistent ulti. I'd have to talk to like one of the 2 Kennen mains and Master, but I think generally this is a good buff for him, and he might see more play because of it. So I like it. It's good. It's great. It's literally just because it hits every target in the area. That's so good. That was always the major problem with him. Alright, keep going. So, Swain. RG fills up to his promise of a master tactician. Embrace him as an unkillable teamfight, tanky monstrosity. Sure. The way I see Swain is he's there to be an annoying AP tank frontline, but he requires so many different stats. Like he wants armor, he wants MR, he wants AP, he wants health, he wants no, he doesn't really want CDR, so he wants everything but CDR. And I don't like that his ulti has for some reason no mana cap to it. It just always keeps growing at like not an exponential rate, but at like a flat rate, which is still really bad. So I like it so that they smooth out some of his stats, so that you could focus on getting like specific stats. New mana regen part, sure, irrelevant. He gets more mana regen off his passive. Let's keep going. Orders Beatrice to fly toward the center of target for a short duration. Target the closest enemy. It switches targets rather than disappears. Okay, that's interesting. Is there a way to force the targeting on Q? Is it through E? Yep, here we go. I was like, this sucks if you can't force the targeting. There's 100% bonus damage to minions, so you can just kill minions really easily, but you would never use it because it costs 60 mana. I guess 40 or something like that, because either that's something dealed off 0.3. It's a 1.2 ratio over the duration, but I very much doubt you'll get them to stay inside the duration the whole time. I wish I had the old Decrepify to compare like over here. I don't know exactly what got changed. I think not being a point click is a really big nerf though. You'd be surprised how important that is. Never move. Oh, they didn't revert the nerf on this, so it's just like they randomly nerfed this champion's never move to have less CC duration. It went from 2 to 1.5, and on the same patch that Karthus got nerfed. So 2 champions got nerfed for absolutely no reason, and I was just like, all right, that's cool. I thought that those were by far the worst nerfs Riot's done in a long time. They nerfed the base by 50? Increase 20% of all damage done. Increase the cooldown. Okay, so they made it less mana hungry later. Less against minions. I know I'm not in queue. I can't get in queue. This is awful. This is so bad. They didn't do anything that helps him. Except for his basic missile attack speed. That's nice. Isn't this awful? He now heals less against minions. It doesn't matter that his number of ravens increased because you weren't ever fighting that many in the first place. Like, you don't want to be in a situation where you're fighting like 12 creeps plus the champion, because you'd take too much damage from the minions in the first place. I guess maybe they would have forced you to more situations like that, but the cooldown got increased. Is Q just his wave clear now because it deals 100% bonus damage to minions? Because that was one of the big problems, that once you got the mid game, if they grouped up on your lane, being able to kill minions is really difficult without Q. So you get wave clear potential, but you trade off for nerfing the rest of nerfing his E and his ult, or its ulti is like, I guess, an average thing. I think they could have done way more with this champ. I think they did a good job at this, I guess, which is okay. You max E last and you max Q first. That's so weird. Alright, I'm gonna go with unsure. Generally, I feel like they could have reworked this better, though. Swain. Dark Sovereign, or Syndra. Oh, I should say, I'm not in queue. Not in queue until I finish patch notes. Just assume that I'll just take one game to go over patch notes, because everyone asks me about this shit. Spears last additional. Whoa, 2 more seconds. Interesting. Force of Will not gap 2 additional spheres. Increasing the size and slow. Okay. So you can get more spheres out? Okay. They lowered the sphere AP ratio. And then E will mean you can grab. Your W throw must be enormous. I think Syndra's close to a decent spot right now. Scattered a week got buffed at 1. Overall, just average. Doesn't really do anything. So this is like what I think of a minor nerf. Like when you look at this, a minor change. When you look at stuff like this, this isn't minor. This is like they changed the champion. Swain, you're now maxing a whole new different ability. But this is pretty small. In Mage you can get 2 more balls, right? You can get up to 7 or 8. No, 7 balls. She's better like him, just because of her W. Her Q is like okay, but her W actually is really big. If you're able to increase the size of the slow and damage zone, that's like her W is actually like everyone underrates her W, but her W is super good, and I think it'll be even better with this. I think she's already good. Syndra's in a spot where she's like close to being good, or like, or I would say she is good. It's like her scaling late game kind of sucks, and nothing, or not late game, but she's still able to get easily picked. I think that nothing really changed too much about her. She's still really easy to get picked. Overall, it just feels like they tried to buff her and they did it softer than Brand, but she's still good. So I think it's just okay. Yeah. You lose 15% damage on Q though, but the ratio goes up. So like overall, it's like probably like a net even amount. Obviously, the percent damage is way better, but the trade-off is you get 2 more spheres for your ulti. So I feel like you get an extra like 200 damage in your ulti. Like you'll take that trade-off. I think it's okay. Not bad. Veigar right now, okay, before I go into this, I'll just talk about each champion. Veigar right now sucks. Lane phase is terrible. It takes too long for him to ramp up to be good. The original changes I heard was that you gain AP off of champions, but that doesn't fix any of his inherent problems, which is that he can't really lane that well with his stuff, and it takes too long to scale. His laning is garbage. It takes so long to scale. He needs like level 13 before he becomes relevant. And mana is a really, really big problem for him, even with his passive, which, by the way, his old passive sucked terribly. So, okay, all that stuff. Let's keep going. Potential infinite is a good thing. Alright, sure. Strikes an enemy with an ability gains 1 AP per time you hit them. It's a stack on kill. Nothing changes on Q. You gain now you only gain 1 mana to kill a champ. It doesn't matter. It's better. It's like overall it's a buff. So the mana costs are what I'm really looking at. They buffed all the mana costs to trade off for Veigar's old passive, which I thought was garbage anyways. Ooh, 40 mana at 1. 40 mana at 1. That's really good. What is this damage? Oh, it's targets missing health. Really? I thought one of the best things about Veigar was that he just like one-shot the AD. If AD or AP, he just one-shot him, and that was like his thing. I don't necessarily know if I like it that much. They nerfed the AP ratio by a decent amount. I like all the changes though to this. I think generally this will be a lot more important than the older one, which was the his old passive was just garbage. It was like half a chalice, fourth of a chalice or something. It's half a chalice passive, and it just felt really, really terrible because like I think hopefully with this angle he's able to lane better. I think it will be possible for him to lane better. And his scaling, this will make it so that you can hit that scaling point around where you could before, where Veigar was played a lot, like 13. And he just goes off from there. It's okay. I think, I honestly, if you just gave me a way to get him out of lane, this champ would see more play. So, I like it. I don't love it because this is kind of weird, but I like it. Overall, good. I'll play him immediately as soon as he comes out. Brand's on top of my list though. I understand it's an execute for tanks, but I feel like I don't really like it. I prefer it as like just an overall like powerhouse. Like it did so much damage before. It didn't matter if you're throwing it into a tank. You just kill him anyways. Oh god, what is this? How is this a small Viktor change? They changed 5 numbers on 5 different abilities, or 3 different abilities. Okay. What's the reasoning behind? Oh, Viktor right now, they nerfed his E so he couldn't wave clear easily to get to the point where he can get items that he wants. So he's not seeing much play now because of that. Plus, I think another damage. Oh, it's just that really. He's really difficult to play as well, and he's very hard to play and immobile. So he's really easily picked on. Originally, he was a very strong, consistent damage source. Played a lot into Azir, but he never saw play after his augment nerf. So whatever, keep going. Oh, sorry. I actually got a decent amount of donations. Let me go look at that. 275 donated. Do you think 6.9 will leave the game that broke and stay for a bit? Yeah, every major patch will. I think there's a lot of changes in one patch, room for things to be abused. Absolutely. But like, you'd want that to happen before the season starts, and then you just like nerf it on the way out, so that when the competitive season starts, everything's good. So you watch like more balanced games. Cruzias and Scarra band, thanks for resubbing for 4 and 11 months. And Dean Alien donated. As you read the patch notes, have you seen any changes that make you want to play the champ first? Brand. Agree with you about Fiddle. The speed buff, they should have increased the range on Fear. I don't know what they did with that. I can understand them being worried about it, but it seems kind of weird. Okay, so keep going. They increased the missile damage, initial missile damage, increased the missile ratio. Base shield is now scales off of his total mana. That's so random. Alright. So now you're gonna be just going like tier a row on him. Cooldown from 8 to 4, so you can do it more early. Empower damage is 2. Less empower damage, but higher ratio and higher missile damage. I think that's okay. Shield ratio got decreased though. It kind of sucks, but it's so weird that he scales off mana now. That's so weird. This isn't right. It's just decided that he has to scale off mana now? Okay. 280. Damage is unchanged. Ratio got nerfed by 0.5. Augmented damage. Oh, they made it so his augmented damage now does more. And it does more than the old one. If you get double hit, it'll hit you for a lot. A lot. 1.2. Laser speed got faster too, but there's a longer delay. You're guaranteed to hit the first one kind of anyways right now. Hitting the second one though, 1 full second. Like, did Riot add ways to keep them still? Like, it just means that Riot is even more core on this champion than it used to be before. Which is okay. It's weird. It's weird. It made your wave clears ridiculously good though, probably. But oh no, that's not true. The base damage is so low on this. The scaling is good. Chaos Storm duration decreased. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Initial damage decreased. Initial damage ratio decreased. Tick rate 2 seconds. Storm whoa, what? Storm damage is 150, 250, 350. This is deceptive. It's a 0.4 ratio to 0.6, and they increased the base by a decent amount. I don't know. It's obviously more consistent. Yeah, tick rate went up. Like, it looks way better than it actually is. When we compare the actual total damage, how many times are you gonna get them to get hit with more than one storm rotation? Probably not. I thought he was in a good spot before. Like, I don't understand the point of these changes. They want to make it so that Rylai's is more core. Like, he's a more consistent damage mage, but they nerfed his main form of like. Oh wow, I was in there for 30 minutes. He nerfed his main form of poke damage, and then randomly had a mana buff. What? It's a more consistent damage. Yeah, I mean, I guess it gives him identity, but It feels like it feels worse than the old Viktor. This the scaling is point. If you're comparing, it is 0.4 to 0.6 because it ticks 4 times in the same tick. So it looks like it's way better than it was before. And if you can look at the overall damage, the overall AP only got increased by 0.35, which is not that much. Yeah, tick rate is just super bad. I don't think you're gonna be able to. It makes the augment rush better, but I just think, I don't like it. I think they could have done more with Viktor. It just seems weird. The death rate delay, like I can understand maybe if they're trying to do this death ray if Q slowed, right? But then all of a sudden I'm reading this and randomly he has a total mana scaling for absolutely no reason. Like what was the point of this? Now Viktor I guess scales off mana, but this thing is like just completely random. I can understand where it was like Q is like augmented your E to do something more. Like if you hit someone with Q, hitting them with E means your next augmented laser came out at the old rate, and the initial rate is this. Now, I at that point I'd be like, huh, that's a really cool change. You know, I like how it synergizes together. It's really nice, but generally I feel like this change just seems really bad. Like he is like, I don't want him to be a consistent damage mage. His identity before was that he was a burst caster, and that's the only way he was able to play against Azir, who had much better consistent damage than he did. They're trying to make him like a consistent burst caster, but he's not as good consistently as other consistent mages like Azir, and he's not as good bursting wise as burst mages. So he's in between, which usually means that he's not going to see any play. No, I understand that there's going to be new items, but just in the shell, I don't like this. I don't need to consider the rework of the mage items. I understand they're reworked, but I still think it's like, it's random. Warning indicator now matches the damage range. Okay. I think that's cool. Stun duration goes down more early, up late. It's average, I guess. It's worse for Xerath because you need the longer stun duration at melee range when you're against people who dove you, but sure, it's like a minor nerf. Damage got decreased. Oh, increased? Increased early, decreased late. Number of 5 barrages late. Range increased by 10%. Now it zooms out. Ooh, you get 4 or 5? Huh. Damage doesn't decrease. Range gets increased and you zoom out for it. The delay is a little bit longer, so you may not be guaranteed as much before. Huh. I like it. It's not bad. It's good stuff. Oh, shit. There we go. It's not bad. I don't love it because this got changed, no. It's not like a clear buff. The less stun duration. Okay, if Zed ultis on you, your counterplay is essentially you stun them at melee range. But losing a quarter second of that stun is like, it could mean losing the ability to land your W because of the delay. And he can like immediately ulti back or can flash it or something like that. So it's like not necessarily like just a flat buff. But I like it. I like it a lot. The zoom out especially I like a lot. Alright, let's go to Ziggs. This champion right now just doesn't see much play. Takes too long to scale up. Laning after they nerfed the bomb consistency isn't that strong. I don't mind this champion not seeing that much play because he's really obnoxious to play against due to how well he gets stall out games. So it's passive. Whoa. Whoa. That's a huge passive buff. What? The ratio got buffed by a lot, and the cooldown got increased on taking stuff off, so you can get like a guaranteed like triple passive proc in a rotation, depending on how much. That's a pretty insane amount. Cannot be used on turrets to destroy. Interesting. I think this doesn't really matter. I think you look at this and you think it's a lot worse than it is. When in all honesty, this like he was already really good at destroying turrets. So this just makes him way better at destroying turrets. So it means that if you roam against a Zyra, you're probably gonna lose your tower pretty quickly. But I don't think like people overrate this. Like I'm telling you, if you think of how much damage his passive actually does to towers, I feel like this is a lot, because you're not gonna be able to max this till later. Oh, welcome back for 9 and 17 months respectively, Queen Venus and Alex P. Sorry, I'm thinking about Azir, but Azir breaks towers similarly in the way that Ziggs does. While he doesn't have a passive proc that works on towers, he still breaks it really fast. I think Ziggs will break it faster than Azir now if you leave the tower. I think it's whatever. I actually don't care about this at all. It's nice to have, but it won't make him see less or more play respectively. I think this is really interesting though. He already was great at pushing towers. I don't think he really understood. So now the entire point about Ziggs is when you push out towers, rather than attempting to roam, you just break your mid lane tower, which is pretty funny. I think this is a lot bigger than anything. Like having less cooldown in the ulti is really nice. 30 seconds off your rank 16 ulti. Whew, that's really good. I like it. Mage itemization. Oh dear god. Okay. Funds 15% of mana spent. Okay. It's okay. This is so strange. I don't like this. This reminds me too much of an old thing that they tried to play. I was there for Riot's first pro balance day, where they tried to do mid-season patch, and they invited like me, Doublelift, Wei Zhao, like so a lot of people like from around the world essentially, and it ended up just being like, wait, it's really annoying to have mana converted to spend the health. I think this is really a dangerous thing to have. I really dislike having double dipping resource conversion, if that makes sense. Or like double. I don't like it when you're able to get health from mana and mana from health. That's essentially what this is. So I don't know. It reminds me of Locket, old Locket, and I don't like the idea. I don't think Callus, the old Callus, was bad. Oh shit! I thought that it filled a really unique spot, and it was good for laning, you know. And they fell off later, but like it gave you the raw stats that you wanted. And I think that their attempt to make it more different, I'm not a fan of, because it could cause a lot of balance problems. Restores health or mana, whichever is lower. The cost decreases on both of these are really good. Don't get me wrong, like, these are really great. It's like almost like 8% increase, 10% decrease, or 10%, 8% decrease, 10% decrease. It's really strong. No longer restores 2% missing mana. This is weird. Some of the times you pick, it's like okay. It means that if you build Chalice, you might not need many pots as you did before, because it switches to health regen. But I don't know how good the health regen is. 100% base health regen may not necessarily be as much as I think it is. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just whatever on this item. With Morello's, where's mana and level up? So it's half of. It's half of the old Catalyst. Amp Tome Sapphire, 100 gold. Restore 20% of your max mana over 3 seconds while leveling up. It's alright. I didn't know what it built into. Codex got increased in cost. Okay. It's to smooth out the upgrades after the Codex. I guess it's not that big of a deal, but it's quite a bit. Removal of Spell Vamp Quints from items. Yeah, I think removing Willow is really good. It changes the people who abuse Willow a lot, like Vlad, and you're able to balance them a lot better. So I really like them removing it. Less expensive, and AP and mana are reduced. I liked they nerfed Roa. I thought Roa and Abyssal were really, really cost effective. Roa being like 120 AP, gave mana and health, and then Abyssal being the ridiculous offensive defensive hybrid item that was the best of both worlds. So those two items I thought were gonna get nerfed regardless. It's cheaper overall. The AP that you get is gonna be. Wait, you don't stack it up anymore? It only sits at 60 AP? Is there the other thing left? Where's the other thing? You still stack, right? Okay. I thought it still stacks. I was gonna say, so you lose 20 AP overall, but you gain this really unique passive. God, why does the patch notes not say that? It scares me, man, when it's not there. I think this item will still be really good. I don't necessarily even think you need it that much in terms of overall raw mana. It's nerfed to Rise, and I guess Viktor now has Q skills, but this passive is just really, really like opens the board to be abused, in my opinion. Because this is essentially like an infinite sustain item for everyone who plays, that has like decently, like a decent. I don't know. I don't like it. I think it allows champions to stay in lane and be incredibly obnoxious in terms of having regen. It's the same thing for this Catalyst item. It's the exact same passive. I'm scared of what this does, honestly. I guess we'll see. What does this Morello's do? So Morello's and the things are pretty close. They shared significant overlap. That's true, but they had really unique passes, so you can choose between the two. All right. AP got increased to 100. Total cost got increased by 500. That's not worth. Increase mana by 400. Kills restore your mana. 20% reduction is now unique. And you get grievous wounds. So you gain 20 AP, 400 mana, and the Grail buff. All right, you'll see this. You'll buy this a lot on CDR mages. It's a more in-game oriented item, but that's okay. The combine is not that bad. At 900, you probably get last chapter as well, right? 900. If it's more expensive, but the combine is like buyable, it doesn't mean that the nerf is that bad. I think, yeah, you'll just see this a lot. Some people don't really want the max mana though. Sometimes this is like a dead stat, but it does a lot for you. Grail is now a support item. I remember reading about this before. It's cheaper, 2200, which is a lot cheaper. No, 20% of pre-mitigation damage you deal to champions is gained as blood charges. So It's for aggressive supports like Lulu, Morgana, and Karma. Yeah, it's a team-oriented sustain item. Interesting. I'll go with. We'll see where this goes. All right, hold on. Let me just go back. So we'll go with this champions. Items. I don't think I should even have a third one because there's nothing that. Oh, there's nothing that I meant to bold it. Should I underscore these? I can never format these correctly to look super nice. I'm not that kind of guy. So they'll like it. Unsure, dislike. I'll go tier. Catalyst. I actually dislike Catalyst. I'm gonna actually just put that as a dislike. Chalice. Unsure. Last chapter. Codex. This is gonna look really weird, but I like that they removed it. Woda. I'm gonna go with unsure. Roa. Oh. Whoops, my bad. I think Morelos is fine. I don't know if they needed to split it up though. It's kind of weird. I'm gonna put a lot of these into unsure because I'm not able to correctly identify if these are good or not until after I see it. Tier, they got us upgrades. Carry over from tier. Refunds 25% of the mana spent. Refunds 15%. Okay. The Mage versus Mage matchup, the winner often comes down to who finished this. Yeah, exactly. The Abyssal change is excellent. They made it more expensive. The AP is lower. MR is higher. They added cooldown to it, and the MR reduction aura scales. Yeah, I think it's a lot better. God, it's more expensive. Thank God. This is like the best thing about the item. I'm telling you, this item was super toxic to mid lane. I'm glad it took them super long for this to change, but this needed to be nerfed a long time ago. Zhonya's struggle. Okay, so the problem with Zhonya's was the cost was even okay, but the build path to have a 1,000 plus combined cost is god awful design. You need to have a better build path. So Seeker's Arbor Codex 800 gold. That's way better. It's lower. It gives you less AP, but it gives you CDR. The one thing I'm worried about is that they're giving CDR to a lot of these items. I don't necessarily know if I like it, but I think that generally having this is good. The way I like the cost reduction, that you get less AP because of it, and the status cooldown is longer. But it's nicer because I'm able to save the Seekers and then go off to this afterwards. It technically is like a little bit of a nerf, but I'm okay with it because the gold value got that decreased so much. Hex tech items. Okay. Cool. What is this? 1000. No longer gives Soul Vamp. Damaging an enemy with a basic attack shocks them for. What? Oh, it's a 40-second cooldown. So you add 75 damage onto your auto. Weird. I think I'm just gonna put it as unsure. The original revolver. I don't know if necessarily this is whatever. I need to see what these do. Backline artillery can load up whatever. Yeah. Target at CC heavy mages who like to skirmish. Callus, AP, 80 AP for 3,000 gold. That's okay. Health mana, decent amount. Oh, this is it. This is the It's even got a 0.35 ratio. Oh, this is a sick item. I like it that increases more in terms of allows you to be more aggressive, helps initiation. It's really good. I'm a huge fan. This is whatchamacallit. This is the Dota item. Shiva's Guard, essentially. That's how I think of it. It's like a mini Shiva's Guard. I like it. AD carry mains may not like it, but it's good. The Hextech is all about picking the. It's like a dash. How many bolts are there? Nova of bolts. I like the idea of both of these Hextech items. Let me put it this way. I like the idea of both of them, but they could have balance issues. But I like the idea of having more active items into the game. I think that the itemization in League generally is pretty lame, or like pretty tame, I would say. And a lot of times I feel like having more items and more active items in general makes the game much easier to balance, and I think it enables a lot more champions to be good as well. Omni Spell Vamp. Pure hybrid offense. Okay, so Void's gonna build this item every game. Yes. 250, slows them for 20. Oh, it's an instant damage. This Gunblade is just average. Gunblade. Oh shit, that's not the end of that. Whoops. Let's see, revolver. I don't even think I'm gonna label the revolver. The revolver is just whatever. The other items are really what changes the stuff. Alright, so we're going to jungle. Alright, my general thoughts about the dragon are that I don't like RNG being put in the game. But I want there to be more fights. Like right now, there's not enough fights and objectives. The objectives suck. So Riot's job this mid-season patch overall to make me enjoy watching the game again is to get people to fight more. I don't care how. Fix the 1v2s to not be so brainless, stupid, and like if they're like the old 1v2s, I'm okay. The current 1v2s are super dumbed down. It's the easiest 1v2s that's ever been in the game. And secondly, force objectives to be more important so that people fight around them. I want blood. When I watch games, I don't want to be bored. I want there to be constant action. I don't mind strategic games as well, but generally the game shouldn't be very boring to watch overall. So my initial thoughts on dragons is that I don't like RNG, but if it'll help fights more, I'm okay to it. We'll see. Only 3 elements will appear per match. Okay, I like it. Lowers the RNG a little bit. Minimap will indicate the type of the next dragon. Dragon runes. Golden runes will indicate which dragon is spawning next. Visible through Fog of War. Okay. So mountain, 20%. 10% to bonus true damage. Okay. 8, 16, 24% attack and AP. That's incredibly good. Slaying the dragon grants 15%. Ooh. 15 bonus move speed. 30, 45. That's a lot. Allows you to get picks really easily, rotate really easily. This one I think is super strong. 10% of your health every 18 seconds. That's so much. I'm really scared about the Ocean Drake, actually. Of all of these, like, it's not the damage that scares me, it's this. Because the ability to have infinite sustain is always very scary. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on. Grants a powerful burning over time, increases the strength of the elemental dragon. Okay. After 35 minutes, no longer spawn. Elder Dragon will spawn. Burn it. increase the strength of your elemental drag. Oh, so it multiplies the buff that you had before. So getting the buffs before the Elder Dragon spawns is really, really important. I like it. I think, ignoring the RNG, I think this is a really good. This line is better for, it forces people to fight more at dragons. As if this wasn't convincing enough to get, this line alone makes it that once the Elder Dragon spawns, the person who's gotten more dragons before will have this, which is really interesting. I like it. Next 120 seconds, burn target. So it's just the old one. Okay. Rift Herald. This I have a problem with. What is a 20-minute buff doing in the middle of the game? Alright, so I'm only okay with 20-minute buffs in one situation. I fully understand. Alright, Scarra, you just talked about we want more blood. I want more blood. So they're going to fight around Rift Herald, and they're going to fight hard. Because Rift Herald introduces a 20-minute buff into the game. I think. The duration is 20 minutes. And what it does is it gives you essentially Shiv. Oh, wait, what is it? What is it now? 5% damage reduction against champions. And you build charges of corruption. And it's Shiv. Okay, so you get Shiv and you get damage reduction. That's insane. I'm okay with this lasting 20 minutes only in one situation. You guys, I want it to that if you kill this champion, he pops the buff off. You obtain the buff if you kill the champion. You want to play with a 20-minute buff? I want to play hot potato with it. I think that'd be really cool. As it is right now, though, this buff is incredibly unbalanced. I don't know what they're thinking about putting this in this game. I'll be honest. A 20-minute buff shouldn't exist in this game. You just give this to your top laner, and he just goes off. But I think they're gonna nerf this immediately once it comes out. Straight up, I think it's just ridiculous. It is really strong. Like it's like the mini Baron, I guess, before Baron spawns. And I guess it should give you like a pretty strong buff. But I think a 20-minute buff is too long. Okay, so anyways, Baron Nashor, duration increases by 30 seconds. Sure, whatever, it's fine. Red and blue buffs. This is what I hate. This should not be in the game. The red and blue buffs like 20 seconds for the first time, but buff camp is 9. This is weird. Okay. Now applies a free burn on hit. Oh, the health regeneration increases? Interesting. Slow goes up to 25%. Okay. Nothing super changes. I think. Yeah, it applies a free tick when you reapply it, so it scales really well with auto attack based champions, stuff that hits really, really fast. But it kind of always did that. It's just more apparent now. Blue buff increases by 15% bonus to AP damage. The scale is better. Oh, the mana regen got doubled? Doubled? Did it really want blue buff to be better? Why does... I don't think blue buff needs to be buffed at all. I think it's in a good spot. Like, it's essentially infinite mana for your mid laner and allows you to pressure the mid laner off. I think this is probably too much. I'm not... You don't need this. This is... What's the point? Sure. Alright, let's keep going. This is stupid. I don't think you should time red-blue timers. Jungle buff for all are now automatically granted to both teams at 60 seconds before spawn. Like... I didn't mind the idea of them having dragon spawns because that's a really big buff. I can understand, but having this in the game, there should be. If I feel like this is so bad. I don't know what Riot's thinking with this. They want to encourage more fighting. That's it. You know what? I agree with them. I think there should be more fights. I don't think this is the right way to do it. I think you should reward teams who are able to hide when they take the buff, and it gives you free information to the enemy team for nothing. For them not even playing well, they get free information on where you started and all kinds of stuff. I guess where you start doesn't really matter. I just think it just feels so wrong. Like, I don't like it. I hate it. I hate it. I want this. I think this gets removed. The Rift Herald buff gets dropped to some low number. I'm okay with hot potato though, just because I'm a sick person. But if they don't want to do that, which I don't think they do, because that causes a lot of problems, we just go down to like 10 minutes. Like, come on, 10 minutes is a long ass time. 5 minutes, I think, is a long time. Sure, you only get the information right before the respawn, but I still don't like it. It just encourages, like, it just gives them free information. I hate that. It doesn't encourage you controlling their area well. It just, like, if it's about to spawn, it just pings it and then, oh, I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Okay, turret stats. Players have gotten better at diving turrets. Structures have ceased to be defensible locations. Yep, okay. Increases turrets 40% for the first 3 shots. Okay. Heat up no longer partially resets when switching targets. This means that if you want to dive, you gotta execute very well. I think it's fine. I actually agree. I think diving towers should be difficult. Defensive stats decreased. Turrets are now subject to armor and magic pen. Okay, that's okay. It means that you get a little bit more out of your pen items and runes. 35% damage reduction from all sources. Okay. So it means it applies to... Wait. It applies to minions too? Oh, that's actually... That might be really difficult to 1v2. Or to shove towers in early now, because the minions just won't do that much damage anymore. Huh. Oh, it's if you try to backdoor a tower, you can do 33% damage to it. That's fine. That's really good. Scales well. Ability damage versus turrets. When your ability tower is more than double your bonus attack damage, your basic attacks scale with 50% AP instead of 100% bonus. That's okay. That's really good. Makes it so Mage just pushes better. Turret rewards. Local gold got increased. Global gold got decreased. Maximum team gold got decreased, but overall it's about the same. I like that the local gold got... I actually don't care. All this is irrelevant to me. Local gold got decreased. Oh, they removed the global XP. I didn't realize that there was... it's not that I didn't realize the point of having global XP on this. Local gold. Inhibs have rewards now? Oh, that's inhib turret. So nothing changed except for you get less gold for killing structures. Right? You get more local here. 75 more here. You get less for inner turret, more for outer turret. Same for inhib. Overall, I'm going to be honest, this doesn't matter. I'm calling it as it is. You're not going to notice this at all. Except for the local gold for getting the outer turret. It's super important. So don't you can like give it to someone in your team like the carry, which I think is actually pretty cool. But aside from that, irrelevant. Let's just keep skipping. This doesn't matter at all. Jungle experience. Monsters grant more experience to junglers, but less to non-junglers. Non-epic jungle monsters only grant experience to killers. All jungle items now grant 30 bonus XP. Junglers get slightly more XP while non-junglers get slightly less. Good. It should make it so that this makes 1v2s a lot more skillless, in my opinion. And it also makes it so that when you take camps early, you get less XP, and you should. I hate that you can do bot lane and you get XP for it. It's really annoying. We last checked shortening them. Oh, they lowered the death timers. So okay, that's fine. I don't think they were a big problem. I thought the bigger problem was that there wasn't enough fights in games. But this, I'm sure, could be okay. It's whatever. Home guard duration and speed increased, particularly early on. We're toning down their haste. Oh, it scales upwards. Okay. So as soon as you hit 20 minutes, you can't immediately TP flank someone and beat them to pieces. I understand the reason why they're doing this. All right. I'll give them this. I understand. It nerfs champions like Hecarim, and like it nerfs generally TP players who can flank a lot. But I understand the reason why they're doing this. Embers of Fire less likely to pin enemies to terrain instead of pushing them over narrow walls or dropping them behind. Okay, that's good. Vessels can no longer kill it. Duration is 12 seconds. I thought a 60-second debuff duration was ridiculously long anyways. Spawn every 5, 4, and 3 seconds? That's a lot better. Okay, I like it. I think it'll always like maybe 1 or 2 buffs from seeing a lot of good play. I think Quas is the only person who plays him right now. Oh, nice. Okay, so they give her like a ridiculous Q. So now you have to max Q to level 5 before you can get 2 seconds on Q instead of 4. It nerfs her early game quite a bit. Wolf does 50% bonus damage to monsters. And it charges when Lamb basic attacks? Oh, okay. So it increases her jungle clear this way to offset the nerf from this. I still think Kindred is going to be good. But more nerfs to Kindred are great. And Nidalee nerfs, thank God. Please take down Executive scales with ult rank. Okay, more Nidalee nerfs, perfect. She's still going to be ridiculously strong. E no longer flies in random directions. That makes it so you can actually play this champ. Because it used to be when you threw your E while leaping, it would sometimes just go the wrong direction. Every person hated it. Soraka. Honestly, I don't really mind about Soraka. I like to see how she functions with grievous wounds change in the game. I think I'm okay. I don't really necessarily know if she needs like a bunch of nerfs until I see it. Base mana up, mana growth down, W range down, E is shorter and narrower. Okay, so it makes her stuns harder to hit. And W doesn't leash as long, so you can't initiate from like half the map. Alright, or half the screen. That's okay. Base mana increased, so they made him better earlier. I think he did have some ridiculous CC ranges. Teemo has more traps. Alright, I'm gonna get crushed by Manco Teemo. Oh, they buffed the mana cost on Q? That's actually a lot. No one maxed that. Don't get me wrong, no one maxed that ability first, but it's nice. 75 mana all ranks, pretty good. I actually thought that mana was kind of annoying to have when you were playing Teemo, but this is really good. Rise faster at higher levels. Okay. Oh, base movement speed increased by 5. Alright. I think this is fine. It's like a small Zac buff. It's cool. Good. Boon enchantments. They just removed them? It's just gone? Alright. I guess it doesn't do much. They're just gone. I use distortion a lot, but I guess it's just gone. Devour nerf is good because it was balanced nightmare. They brought back Blood Razor, which is essentially attack speed item. This is essentially what Teemo is gonna buy. When you see Manco messing me up, this is what he's gonna be using to crush me. So I don't necessarily think the removal of Devour is that bad because they can just buy this. It's really strong, or pretty strong. Rage Blade is now an in-game item. I think it's good. So now it costs 3,600 gold. Super endgame. Has 15 magic damage per hit. Gives attack speed 8. It's the same thing as before. Maximum stacks are at 6. No longer gives 2 stacks for melee champions. During rage, every other basic attack will trigger on hit. Ooh. So it even for melee and range are able to trigger on hits. Okay, I like it. It's open to everyone, and it's a late game item. Alright, it's fine. Cost reduced. Minus 5 AD. This is so big. Minus 5 AD doesn't matter. Minus 5 AD for 400 less gold. I'll take it. Cleaver was a really hard item to buy because it was so expensive. Look at this combined cost. This is what I'm saying. I don't think a single item in the game should have a combined cost over 1k. And Zhonya's and Cleaver were two really big things that had that. I think that this makes Cleaver better, and I like it. I think it's great. So Cal is... yeah, it's too efficient. I agree. They lowered the health, lowered the MR. And it costs more. Okay. I think it's really annoying when you can just buy Cal and that's your only MR item. You buy like double armor items because Cal was just super good. Oh, Banshee they lowered the health. So they didn't lower the health of Visage, but they increased decreased the combined cost, lowered the MR, but increased the passive healing increase. Ooh, that's dangerous. I think 20% was a good thing, but like for instance, like this is a buff to Mundo, and it might not look obvious when you look at it, but you're just like, oh, immediately I think Mundo and Soraka tanks with this with Soraka or Mundo and a team. This makes them better. I think it was fine. I'm surprised they changed this. GA. Oh, overall MR decreases. I think GA. It's always dangerous to buff GA because I remember that when M5 used to build like 5 GAs every game. I like GAs being in the game. I don't like them being bought every game. So I'll probably end up buying a lot of GAs. But you lost 300. The total gold is 2,400 for GA. I think that's super cheap. I'll probably end up buying this a lot. Quicksilver Sash only removes. This is really weird. I'm gonna go against the grain because a lot of people think this is really bad for the game. I think it's bad for the game, but I think it opens up balance opportunities. I think that it's really strange that you essentially have one item that negates a lot of abilities in the game. I think that it's really hard for some design space to be increased with Quicksilver QSS in the game. Not only does it negate abilities, it negates like summoner spells, so it makes balance a lot harder when they can do all of these things. However, it's been such a staple in the game that it feels really wrong for them to remove it. So I understand the problem with this, with the removal. I think if you're going to remove it, you need to make sure there's enough things that compensate the removal. But just removing it out of the clear makes it very difficult to use. Not difficult to use. It makes it. I mean, I guess, yeah. It makes it. It feels really bad if you're like an AD player against Zed. I guess that's what I mean to say. I'm sorry if you play AD. I apologize. Hexdrinker, Maw, and Sterix can't stack. I think that's a smart choice. It was hard to balance both the stacking. I think that's nice. Bombays lowered the health by 20. All right, they increased the cost of Sunfire. Okay, I think that's smart. Sunfire, Iceborne is a problem with the Grasp. Cinderhulk, they increased the early game immolate damage. No, the late game immolate damage. Break even with the old Cinderhulk at level 6, which most items. Okay, so Cinderhulk got buffed. I think that's pretty good. Breaks even with. No one completes their Cinderhulk at 6. It's like 6 or 7 or 8. Vision Wars now take 4. Sure, cool. I think this is really smart. I think this is still broken. Like blue trinkets are so powerful in the game. It should say something when you're looking at in-game. You look at the in-game orbs that they're using. They're using 3 blue trinkets, 2 sweepers. 2 sweepers to secure vision, 3 blue trinkets, so you never have to be worried about vision control because you just gain vision because you have a blue trinket. I think it really dumbed down the vision game by having blue trinket as such a short cooldown. They've nerfed it twice already. Righteous Glory no longer. I think yeah, this item sucks right now. So they're no longer speeds of items. Allies? What was always used as an option for allies? Okay, has the new attorney buff. It gives you 75% move speed personally for 4 seconds. This doesn't do anything. The point of Righteous Glory isn't that it wasn't being bought currently because there was no need for it. Like it wasn't better than the other options like the Iceport and Sunfire. And I guess if you nerf them, this becomes more readily like it becomes better because of it. But I don't think the solution is only give the initiation option to one champion. And not buff anything else about it. Like, it's still just raw stats. Like, I wouldn't even build this on Volibear, and I love Volibear, you know? The 2-second CC on the 75% slow is nice, but I don't necessarily know if it's worth it, because you lose so many defensive buffs for it. I don't know if I like it. It's probably good on Maokai, but that's like it. I don't. Warmogs. No one bought this item because no one wanted the health. And the grants CDR? Huh. Okay. Okay, I like it. 10% CDR for 50 health is okay. It'll fit in more builds for sure. People might actually build this item because of that. Relic Shield. Oh, charge cooldown's 40. Ooh, healing per charge is 12. Oh, that's a lot worse. Nerfing regen. Yes! Grievous wounds. Thank God. God bless America. Any gods who are watching out there, this is for you. This means I don't have to complain about Soraka anymore. Now, balancing Soraka is a lot easier because you balance around the idea that there's Ignite in the game, which is much simpler. And bot lanes now, when you run heal, you can abuse the support when he's out of position, so you can't heal him for full. That was the #1 thing that pissed me off about playing bot lane. So you should see more bot lane 2v2 kills, especially if the support player that you're playing against positions poorly. That's really, really big, actually. I think this generally buffs like good bot lane players. If you're playing against worse bot lane players, like it's already pretty impressive to play against a bad bot lane. But if you're playing against a worse bot lane now, Ignite becomes a lot more appealing because you just destroy them. I don't mind the skin clarity. It's whatever. Bug fixes. It's whatever. Holy shit. How long did I talk for? I haven't played ads in 2 hours. I talked for this for a long time. Okay. So generally, what do I think? I think that I don't think I really want to talk about any of these things. All the nerfs are good. I think Kindred nerfs are great because they're S tier junglers. And death timers being shortened are fine. Jungle experience is good, really good for the game. Generally, like the only thing I want to see is that there's more fighting when I watch competitive games. And just when I play the games in general. And overall, most of these changes encourage more fighting, which is great for me. Harder to dive, but more fighting outside in terms of objectives. And I like it. I like it a lot. I don't necessarily know if blue buff needed to be buffed, but everything else on this patch is great. I'm excited to play it. I've been getting pretty bored of mid lane mages recently, but I'm hoping with the new patch, in terms of champions, I immediately want to play. We're going to go for... I'm just going to stop bolding this stuff. I'm going to go for... I'm really interested in playing Brand, Xerath, Brand, Veigar. I'm interested in Swain, but honestly, it's probably gonna disappoint me. So I guess those 4 champs are probably you'll see me play first day. Alright, I need to get some water. I've been talking for like an hour straight, and I'm gonna go queue up as well. So I'm gonna be queued for. Let's just say I'm gonna be queued for mid jungle. Alright, cool. I'll see you guys.